Hey everyone, I'm Nicole.
And I'm Gabrielle.
And we are the hosts of the Spiritual Sisters podcast.
Join us every week as we discuss all the spiritual topics like astrology, mediumship, psychic insights, and so much more.
We are often joined by others we have met along our spiritual journey who are well versed in many of these areas.
Get ready for enlightening discussions and interviews and personal experiences that we hope will expand your mind and get you thinking outside of the box.
Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just beginning your spiritual journey, there's something here for everyone.
Check us out every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts. See you then.
Bye!
Hi, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Soul Ecosystem Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Rising, and on this podcast, we discuss all things soul contracts. I'm a professional soul contract reader, and I work with a modality that combines Jewish mysticism, astrology, tarot, and numerology to bring about the reason you incarnated and what your mission is, what you wanted to do in this incarnation via your soul contract. Today, we're going to be looking into the Love and Compatibility Chart of Connor Storrie and Hudson Williams. This is a requested chart dive because I had done a Love and Compatibility Chart for Connor Storrie and Francois Arnault. And some of you guys were saying like, oh, it's just a rumor that they're dating. They're not actually dating. So I'm going to preface this by saying I know that currently Connor Storrie and Hudson Williams are not dating. So this is going to be a purely hypothetical compatibility chart. I'm going to tell you what the numbers are telling me, what energy is being given off, and honestly, their chart explains why they have such insane chemistry. I think it was Connor Storrie actually. I saw in an interview that he's the one that kind of chose Hudson Williams, like when they were doing like reads together. The directors had asked him like, who do you feel chemistry with most? And he's like, the third one. And that was Hudson Williams. Sorry, my entire Instagram feed has been, me and my husband's Instagram feed has been nothing but heated rivalry for a good hot second because of its popularity and because algorithm, we've been watching it a lot. Anyway, so all of that to say, I am very excited. I am very excited about Connor Storrie and Hudson Williams' compatibility chart because it is off the charts good. It is very, very different than what I saw in him and Francois' compatibility chart. So I cannot wait to explore that with you. If you have any other requests, because I think there was another request for the soul contracts of BTS, I do want to get to that. I feel like it's going to be a lot, like a really big episode because there's so many of them, but maybe I could just do like a quick rundown. If you guys have any requests of compatibility charts, of soul contract charts of celebs or public figures that you're dying for me to look into, feel free to leave it in the comments. Otherwise, let's dive into this compatibility chart because it is a juicy one. So right off the bat, Connor Storrie was born February 22nd, 2000, and Hudson Williams was born February 13th, 2001. The first thing that pops up whenever you're doing a compatibility chart, the first numbers that pop up set the tone for the relationship and set the tone for why you guys agreed to kind of meet in this lifetime and what you wanted to learn through each other in this incarnation via a relationship, whether that be a actual romantic relationship or just a friendship. It is evident that Connor and Hudson, the reason they are so perfect together, work so well together, have such insane chemistry together is because they have number 8 as their first number in their lineup. And as far as numbers go, number 8 is the number of the ideal couple. This is the number that you want to see in your love and compatibility chart. It means that there's equality in this relationship, that there's a sharing of responsibilities in this relationship, that things are fair, that it's not just all on one person, that it's a very mutual energy exchange. Again, whether you are in a romantic relationship or just a platonic relationship, the energy exchange is equal. These people are coming together as equal partners, not where one is draining the other of their resources and their energy, but there's like this mutual exchange. And the 8 also signifies that there are certain issues that the couple wants to work out through meeting together, through this friendship or through this romantic relationship. And because everybody makes different choices throughout their incarnation, those things that they want to sort out could be very different. 8 being the number of justice, of fairness, this could be kind of like the relationship that heals them after a very toxic kind of environment, toxic relationship. The 8 brings a lot of healing and rights wrongs. So if anything, even if they're not pursuing anything romantically, we can assume that this connection is very healing for the both of them, because one, if not both of them, may have experienced something painful in a previous relationship, and this is kind of like, oh, okay, like, not everybody's like this. Not everybody's going to hurt me. Not everybody's going to do this to me. It's that kind of situation. And I found that to be the case not just in this love and compatibility reading, in other compatibility charts where somebody has had an 8. They're usually coming out of a very painful experience and they're like, I need somebody that's not going to screw me over. And that's where the 8 comes in with its equality, with its justice, with righting the wrongs that have been done to you and kind of balancing it out so that you know what a partnership feels like, so that you know what a healthy, loving relationship feels like. And the next number that they have for their compatibility chart is the number 4. 4 is more so very about masculinity. It's about the energy of the 3D, of the material, of power. Therefore, seeing it in a love and compatibility chart kind of denotes that one of the couple's goals is to strive to achieve success together. So they're kind of going to be encouraging each other, supporting each other, being each other's cheerleader to gain success. Like, it's going to be feeding into their ambitions, and they're not going to be the type to want kind of step on the other person in order to get higher up. You know, it's going to be respectful, like, okay, like, you can go and achieve your dreams, I'm gonna achieve my dreams, let's help each other do that. The aim here, the goal here for them, when in alignment, of course, when not operating from ego, is to have this mutual steady increase, steady rise of wellness, of well-being, of success, both professionally, emotionally, mentally, but more so focused on the tangible, more so focused on the physical manifestation of what success would look like to them. 4 also brings in the energy of improvement. So if they were in a relationship together, that might manifest as them renovating together, renovating their house, or selling an apartment or selling a condo and buying a house together and kind of up-leveling. So 4 brings a lot of growth, both in a career kind of setting, because they're ambitious, they want to become more successful, as well as more in a physical sense of up-leveling their lives somehow, whether it's through getting a house, getting a car, but somehow growing together. 8 later shows up in the reason that they were brought together by fate, and 8 acts as kind of a messenger of fate. 8 tells us that this couple did not meet by chance. It was entirely fated, entirely agreed upon previously. This wasn't something that the couple randomly decided to do in this incarnation, and that happens sometimes. Sometimes you get off of path and you just decide to take a tangent and do something that you completely did not agree to do. You meet somebody or get together with somebody that you completely did not agree to get together, like you didn't plan it beforehand. But this is not the case. This was very intentional. The success that both Hudson Williams and Connor Storrie are experiencing right now following the release of Heated Rivalry is very intentional, as is their work together. It was meant to be. Connor Storrie was meant to choose Hudson Williams to play Shane. And along with that very intentional energy that they couldn't have resisted if they tried, that chemistry that they couldn't have faked if they tried. We see the 8 manifesting as them being very, very protective of each other, very supportive of each other. They're sympathetic to each other and each other's mistakes. They're not judgy. They work together to either fix those mistakes, like say if they're on a set, they're not going to be putting the other one down for having messed a line up. It's going to be very loving and supportive. And they were meant to kind of have that kind of working relationship because of how well they work together. It was literally planned from the get-go, from before they incarnated, to work together and be able to be in this state of flow. Like, they would organize things very easily. I wouldn't be surprised if they work on another project together, on another movie together sometime in the future because of how well they mesh. Now, here's where we kind of start picking up on their individuality. When we see the number 21 in this Love and Compatibility chart, because I've already seen Connor Storrie's soul contract and Hudson Williams' soul contract, I know that that 21 is acting from Connor Storrie. 21 is about traveling. It is about movement. So in order for them to have a very good financial flow, a good energetic flow of money, it's very important that they travel together. The energy of the number 3 kind of speaks to materialism again, because the number 3 is all about abundance. It's all about femininity, creating a place of comfort, a sense of comfort, creating a home. And it talks about the importance of them having a place to come back to, a place to root into once they're done their traveling. And I feel like that's coming from Hudson a little bit because he needs that grounding. He needs that grounding, and he would be perfect to be that grounding space for Ilya when he's done traveling, seeking adventure. Did I just say Ilya? I meant Connor. Did I say Ilya? I meant Connor. I think I did say it. Anyway, Connor. And in order for that energetic flow of money to keep going, we also see the number 15 and 6, which is kind of synonymous because they carry the same root of the energy. 15 is more about the luxurious and finding balance in luxury, being okay with living a meek life, but also being okay with occasionally spending more money. Money keeps popping up for them, so that tells me that it's very karmic for them because they were meant to experience this kind of success that they got from heated rivalry together and learn how to manage that together. I wouldn't be surprised if they stay friends for the rest of their lives because this is a very, very strong partnership. This is a very strong compatibility that makes it very easy for the both of them to get along, makes it very easy for them to communicate. Now, when they are not in alignment, when they are operating from ego, as many tend to do, especially when you get famous and you kind of start getting a little bit big-headed, when the ego starts kicking in and a person starts getting off path, not really listening to their intuition, being more so driven by ego, by fear of losing that success, losing that momentum that they just gained, here's where we start to see things get a little bit tricky. So in misalignment, fate will go and put them in very difficult situations that starts to highlight the imperfections in the relationship in order to kind of try and show them that, hey, something's off here. You guys have gotten off path. You've forgotten why you're even together, or you've forgotten why you're even friends, why you even love each other. And it kind of starts to bring the messy stuff up to your face and be like, hey, we need to clean this up. We need to do something with this. And that may manifest as partners being disappointed with each other, partners being very hypercritical of each other, seeing only things they haven't done, it's like you still haven't taken out the trash. I asked you to do that 2 days ago. And if it is not addressed for long enough, it depends. It depends. It's tricky because everybody operates from misalignment differently, and it can be more extreme than others. In the case of the 8, it can lead to domestic violence. So it can get toxic. But again, that's dependent on each individual soul. I do not see violence in Connor Storrie or Hudson Williams. I do not see the possibility of violence like on this timeline for Connor Storrie or Hudson Williams. Maybe if they got into a relationship and like it got really messy, like I'm talking about like dependencies on like alcohol or drugs, maybe that would put it into that kind of extreme. But I do not see that happening for them on this timeline. When we see the 4 in the negative alignment of a couple, the 4 again is very masculine energy. So that means that one of the partners is going to be picking up all of the work. One of the partners is going to be completely in the masculine, so much so that they're not going to be able to ask for help. They're going to be just so used to putting everything on their shoulders that they're going to be very hyper independent to the point where it might feel like they're carrying the weight of the relationship, they're carrying the brunt of it, like that the other person's role in this relationship is like null, void, and they might feel really alone. That might make them feel very alone and question the point of even being in a relationship with this person if they're going to feel like they're single anyway, if they're going to feel like they're doing everything on their own. They have to figure everything out with the bills and the rent and the this and the that. So, misalignment of the number 4, we're going to see negative things manifest, like a lot of arguments, a lot of aggression, and number 4 also kind of warns of a dependency coming in for one of the partners, or if not both of the partners, if it's like really bad, where one turns to vices because they can't handle the loneliness that they feel in the relationship. So yes, as big of a positive, as bright of a future as they have if they were a couple, again, I know that they're not actually dating, this is a hypothetical, as bright of a future that they would have as a couple if they're not operating from their authenticity, from alignment, there is going to be a lot of negative karma that starts kicking in, especially if they're not doing what they agreed to come together to do. And in this case, they were supposed to be the healing relationship that comes after a really bad one. They were supposed to be the thing that restores their faith in humanity, the relationship that makes you be like, oh my goodness, like I've been so jaded in the past from these past experiences, and now I have faith in humanity again. I believe in love again. When that does not play out, when that can't play out because they can't find common ground, they can't put aside their differences, they can't find a way to love each other despite their differences, there's a lot of aggression that manifests. There's also financial issues that manifest because they're not in that flow state energetically. They're going to be experiencing money blockages. They're going to be experiencing physical aggression. It might get to that extent. We also see the number 5 come in. And fives struggle with communication a little bit, especially in misalignment. So we're going to see them shutting down, which is funny because compared to Connor Storrie's and Francois Arnaud's compatibility chart, that one, it was so different. They severely lacked communication from the get-go. It wasn't like, it was also like in the alignment part where it's like, you might not really talk to each other. And I'm like, how's this relationship going to work if they don't really talk to each other, if they don't communicate? And now we see that in the negative manifestation, the 5 kicks in where they're not going to be communicating. And I feel like that's a Connor thing because Connor is the common denominator here. And I have a feeling that when he's not feeling you, he's not talking to you. I think that's a Connor thing. Anyway, let's close this off with the reason they might break up. If they were to start dating and they started experiencing like these energies of misalignment where they're totally refusing to vibe together, to find common ground, to communicate to each other, if it gets to a place where it's been misaligned for too long, they may break up because there's going to be a whole lot of emotions. There's going to be extreme emotions, really big emotions and feelings rising up in them both, and it can contribute to kind of a blow up. That will result in them breaking up and them separating. And I just remembered, I think Connor Storrie and Francois Arnault also had this karma for when they're out of alignment for too long for their breakup, for the reason for their breakup. I think it was also like this blow up because, again, Connor Storrie's likely the type to really shut down and not communicate when something's wrong until you've been quiet for so long, you haven't communicated for so long that now all of that dirty laundry has to come out, all of that has to be aired out in order for you to have closure, in order for you to be able to like sit inside of yourself, you know? So there's also the same theme playing out for Connor and Hudson, where for a while it might get so excruciatingly mundane, like where you're doing the same thing over and over again, like same extreme. It's so calm, it's so boring, where it might drive them both away from each other. And one of the partners in this relationship might start to feel like they're more of a cheerleader, like they're more of a fan of the other, and the other is like not really in love with them. They see them as somebody that's just obsessed with them. So that might also be a factor. Having looked at Connor's story through his compatibility with Francois Arnault and through Hudson Williams and his whole contract, I'm starting to get a better idea, a better sense of how he operates when something is off, when he's not feeling it. And we also see this kind of playing out in the recommendations for how to like get back to that neutral place where you're able to connect again, where you're able to find common ground again, because we see the number 12 pop up. And this could be for both of them, this need to sympathize, this need to understand each other, because there's this tendency of going into victim mentality, so much so that you can't see what you did to contribute to the lack of communication or the lack of understanding in the relationship, the lack of work that you've put into this relationship. So the 12 kind of reminds them to like take it a step back and like try to come at it from the position, like from a neutral standpoint, where you are both sympathizing for each other and trying to understand why the other feels the way that they do. 13 also comes up for them, which tells me that somebody may not be managing their time wisely. One of the partners may feel like the other is just not prioritizing them, just not making time to spend time with them, to do things with them, to plan dates with them. So the 13 comes in and tries to say, okay, in order to kind of get back into alignment with each other, you are going to need to make it a priority to schedule those things, to do things together, and try to live some kind of, like, have some kind of semblance of a romantic life, of a partnership where you're doing things together and where it's not just one person doing the work. And for some reason, I keep seeing Hudson in all of this. I keep seeing Hudson bearing the weight, the workload of the relationship, and Connor Storrie just not being around because of his love for excitement, his love for travel, whereas Hudson Williams is just not that way at all. Justin Williams. Hudson Williams is very, why am I just messing up everybody's name? Hudson Williams is very much a homebody. He loves to be grounded. He loves to stay in one place and do routine things, which is not Connor's vibe. Lastly, in order to save this hypothetical relationship, their mutual goal should be to move forward in the same direction as their partner. 7 is all about movement, and this kind of says that they may have been really living like their own lives, not really combining them at all, making plans without the other. So 7 kind of comes in and advises you to make plans together. Make a 5-year plan, make a 10-year plan. Where do you want to be? Do you guys still see each other together 10 years from now? What do you want that to look like? And make specific goals. Make it a point to plan for a future together if you see one. for yourselves. So that is what I have for you guys for Connor Storrie and Hudson Williams. I really liked this one. I really liked the feeling of this compatibility chart more so than Francois Arnault's, because I remember with Connor Storrie's, I remember looking at their chart and I'm like, this feels like a senior couple. This feels so boring. This feels like they are not communicating, like they're not really on the same wavelength. So I don't know if they're dating or not. I heard that they were seen like boarding a plane to Bermuda or something like that. If they are dating, I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing between him and Francois. But if Connor and Hudson Williams got together, there is a possibility for this to be a long-term relationship if they are going into it with the right purpose, with the right kind of mentality, because it's very easy for them to get along with each other. They balance each other out very, very well, and they were meant to kind of be very healing for each other and give them hope, and that's very beautiful. Anyway, thank you guys for requesting this. I really liked being in that energy. I do not think that if they got together, they'd be operating from misalignment, because their energy feels very expansive. Their energy feels high vibrational. So again, if you guys had any other requests as to whose love and compatibility chart or soul contract to do next, feel free to comment below, hit me up. I'm on Instagram at The Soul Ecosystem and The Soul Ecosystem Podcast. And if you wanted to get your own soul contract calculated or to find out your love and compatibility chart with another person, you can do so at my website at thesoulecosystem.com or my Etsy shop, The Soul Ecosystem. Otherwise, I will see you guys next Friday. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Have a great weekend.